There was a rumor a few weeks ago that Nintendo is supposedly working on a VR headset with Samsung. I'm probably gonna upset some people, and let me preface this. I am a Nintendo bona fide. I have only owned Nintendo systems my whole life, except for a Sega Genesis we had when I was a kid. As an adult, I've never owned a console other than Nintendo. I've owned every single Nintendo console ever made, except, ironically enough, a Virtual Boy. My favorite series of all time is Legend of Zelda. I played every Metroid game. I played most Mario games. Bona fide Nintendo guy here. I don't want this to happen. I really don't. And the reason I don't want this to happen is it's purely a numbers thing, because you know for a fact Nintendo's not going to make a VR headset that's going to work with Steam VR or is going to work in another ecosystem. It's going to be their proprietary software, or their proprietary hardware, that only works in their ecosystem like every other console they've ever made. So if you go through on the flat screen world, there are basically 4 major platforms. There's PC, and I know that's kind of segmented. I know PC is kind of segmented across multiple different launch pads. You know, there's Epic, there's Steam, there's EA launcher, so on and so forth. But basically, there's PC gaming. There's Nintendo, there's Sony, and there's Xbox. So that's 4. Across those 4, I don't know the numbers for Epic. I couldn't find those anywhere. I couldn't find the earnings call to look this up. But Steam last month reported 120 million users in the month of September. Nintendo was 114 million. Sony's 108 million. Xbox, and this counts Xbox consoles and PC, is 150 million. Now, there's a lot of crossover between those 4 platforms, but you're talking, I'm going to say, you know, if there was a Venn diagram, I'd say probably about 250 to 300 million active users in flat screen gaming. That's just a rough estimate because a lot of people own and game on multiple systems. So we're just going to say, let's just say conservatively 200 million active users, right? Okay. In VR, you have Pico, you have Quest, you have Sony for PSVR, you have Vive XR Elite, you have Pimax, and you have Steam. That's 6. That is 2 more than the 200 million active users on flat screen gaming. And the numbers on VR are much, much lower. Now you're going to throw Nintendo into that mix, and that's going to bring in another closed ecosystem. So now we're up to 7 ecosystems for a platform that has a lot less monthly average users. It's a little bit ridiculous. The last Steam VR survey last month showed 1.6% of Steam users used a VR headset in the month of September. So if you do the math across 120 million, that is 1.92 million people use a VR headset with Steam in the month of September. The last numbers we got for Quest were around 6 million. That was last year prior to Quest 3's launch. And there are a lot of people who just use their Quest for PCVR and don't play any standalone whatsoever. So let's just say that there was a boost of people playing PSVR 2. Let's just say, and then Quest 3 users right now. So let's say conservative estimate, put that number around 8 million total. Because PSVR 2 users are not mutually exclusive. A lot of people who bought PSVR 2 also game on other platforms. They also have Quest, they also have PCVR headsets. So no matter how many headsets PSVR 2 has sold, those aren't mutually exclusive numbers. So let's just say 8 million people. So you're going to dilute 8 million active users across 7 ecosystems if Nintendo comes into the fray. Now Nintendo's going to add users to it, but you're not going to get up to 100 billion users in Nintendo. Let's say conservative number, 10 to 12 million monthly average users if Nintendo comes into the fray. And then there's a headset count. In the last year, we've got Pico 4, Quest Pro, PSVR 2, HTC Vive XR Elite, Pimax Crystal, Big Screen Beyond just started shipping, Quest 3 just launched. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We're getting Apple Vision Pro next year, which again, not really in the gaming, but it is another headset. Let's see what else. The Varo Aero launched, I want to say in September last year, so you extended 13 months. Now you're at well over a dozen headsets, because I haven't mentioned like Visor's headset from Immerse. I haven't mentioned the Somnium VR. So you're looking at nearly a dozen headsets launched in the span of about 2 years across 7 ecosystems if Nintendo were to jump into the fray, which is more headsets across more closed ecosystems in gaming for VR than are on flat screen. It doesn't make sense to me. So I really hope that doesn't happen. Just from a numbers perspective, it's going to dilute the fan base too much. And I would question if all these people who were saying I would love for Nintendo to get the VR, do you really want Nintendo to make a VR headset? Or do you want Nintendo to bring their games to VR? Because I'm in the latter category. If you gave me Zelda in VR, Metroid in VR, Mario in VR, I'm in heaven. I'm fine. I don't need another Nintendo VR headset to do that. It doesn't need to happen. So what would I like to see happen? I would like to see Nintendo partner with an existing VR company and not Meta, before anyone jumps down my throat, I would like to see Nintendo partner with someone and say, hey, our franchises are going to be exclusive to your platform. Imagine what it would do for HTC's platform or Pimax or another company to get all of their, let's get PC out of the way. Nintendo is not going to go into PC VR. Let's just get that off the table. It's not going to happen. But then Nintendo said, hey, HTC, you are now the official home of all Nintendo franchises, and ported all their stuff into HTC's ecosystem. That's going to boost HTC's ecosystem, maybe put them on par and put them closer to any competition with Meta. That would be good for that part. And it would, again, keep the number of ecosystems down that people have to buy into. HTC is just an example. It could be anyone. It could be Pico for all I care. But do not create another one. I don't want to see that happening. There's already enough tribalism and all that crap that happens in VR already. We don't need another one. Just put your franchises in VR. Partner with someone who already does it well. One other point. Nintendo has made a living, an absolute living. They've made billions of dollars on selling underpowered hardware. If anyone thinks that Nintendo is about to make like a very high-end, super expensive, enthusiast level headset for a couple $1,000s, you're playing yourself. Nintendo has always made budget-friendly consoles. I can't remember the last one they made that cost over $300. The number of people who are excited about this, like they think Nintendo's about to come out with some micro OLED, 5K per eye. They'll hack it for PC, like the one guy is trying to hack PSVR 2 for PC right now. Like, there's no.